I'm Amy. Nice to have you here. I guess if I was to give advice to someone starting out with tarot, my advice would be, there's so much. I just have so much. I just want to say it all. I don't know where to even start. I guess, first you're going to go and try to find a deck that you like. Whichever one kind of calls for you. But every picture speaks 1,000 words. So when you do a tarot read, it's what words are the right ones for that read, right? But what's helped me along the way, it's been a couple of years now that I've been doing tarot reads, and I've learned the best way to learn your deck is not only just to look through the cards, look through the pictures, get yourself familiarized with, the whole theme of your cards, but also when you learn your numbers and when you learn the suits and what they mean, it has helped me tremendously. Because then I can flip a card, or one will come out because I shuffle, and whatever comes out is what my messages are, and what I'll read. But then when I look on, like I said, a picture speaks 1,000 words, and each card is a picture. So there's, you can do your normal, I don't know, I'm just saying normal. If you read your cards upright, then you have reverse too. But you can look as far into it as which way the pictures are facing. If there's a person on it, if there's, what are they doing in the picture? What does it symbolize? If there's one person, if there's no people, if there's tons of people, like there's, then which way are they facing? What events are happening in the story that's laid out in front of you in your cards? So yeah, I guess my advice would definitely be when you learn what each card, you have to spend a little bit of time with each card of your new deck so you can see it. But at the same time, I noticed when I lay my cards out, after my cards fall out and I make a spread of it, and I look at all my cards, you'll see a story laid out in front of you, and that's how you read your 1,000 words for your pictures, is from, which, what symbols are on the cards, what animals, what's going on. I had a read where, a lady had asked me about her son, what's going on with my son. I haven't heard from him in a long time. He's overseas, blah, 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 kind of deal. So what's going on with him? How come we haven't heard anything from him? So I did a read, and all the cards that I had laid out, I looked at them one at a time, and it showed, at first there was, like 2 people, and then you'd see a man and a woman, then you'd see one guy, then you see his head down, and then you see the woman facing backwards, and then you'd see him by himself. And then, there was money stuff everywhere. And from what I was depicting off of her read was her son had a heartbreak, because that had showed in the cards. But he was by himself, so he ended up going really deep into his work. Like when you're sad and depressed and there's nothing else to live for, then you just work. So I felt like he just overwhelmed himself with work, and he just kind of got carried away with that. And I was trying to get over the woman, and now, since she was looking forward in the first, 4 or 5 cards that come out, and then compared to the last 4 or 5 cards come out, she was facing forward, then turned to looking back. So I told her, I'm like, I think he's consumed himself in work because he went through a heartbreak with somebody. So then now, he's just kind of gotten his priorities kind of mixed around and messed up, and I don't know, just the way I could read the cards like that. Of course, I went back to my references just to make sure that, the cards I was reading the kind of way of what the books say from what I was feeling. But sometimes you don't get that, where you'll get a card pop up and you think, oh my gosh, it means that to me. But then you'll look into the book and you're like, okay, that's not what I felt. But so what do you listen to? Do you listen to your intuition from when you first seen the card, or when do you look into the book and it tells you what it means? Is that the right? No, you go with what your intuition said, in my opinion. This is just me when I do a read. now that I've learned that, I mean, the general ideas of the cards with the numbers and the suits, and then you have your major arcana, your minor arcanas, and they have, you know, your major arcanas are life-changing events, and then your minor arcanas are all like little minor details that go into it. So, I mean, that all kinds of plays out too. But, you know, watch videos, watch, you know, read your booklets, go back to all that stuff. But the more familiarized that you get with all that stuff, the easier it is to read. And then when you do read, you won't have to refer back to your books as often, because then you'll realize, you know, it's my intuition. These cards are speaking to me, and they're going to speak to you the way that your guides are wanting you to read them. Does that make sense? Yeah, your spirit guides, your loved ones, anybody that is giving you these messages through the cards, they're going to have a way for you to be able to read them. There might be a memory that comes along with the card that you see that's going to reflect on the person that you're reading for. Or if you're reading for yourself, you know, things might come up where you have, you know, a memory or a situation that you're like, oh my gosh, this totally reminds me of when that happened to me. Or, oh my gosh, does that mean that, you know, my job is going to go downhill? Whatever the cards come out, however you feel when you see it, whatever it speaks to you is kind of how it works for me. So, yeah, advice, learn your numbers, learn your suits, take time spent with each card out of your deck. My first deck that I got, it was a smaller deck, as in they weren't the size of my palm. They were like half my palm, you know, so it was more like a to-go tarot deck, which actually I keep that little deck in my car. So if I ever, for some reason, want to read, or someone, you know, I come across someone that wants to have a reading done, I can whip those cards out. But then I have a deck of cards that I had bought that was bigger than that after the small deck, and it had actually on the cards what they meant. So if you had the strength card, it'd tell you, you know, whatever, every card had its specific meaning on it. So that helped me with learning too. But then I got gifted a set of tarot cards from a high priestess, and that deck really, I mean, it screams at me. It really does. And I've done tarot readings with it on here. It's the only deck I use now, pretty much, other than the small deck I keep in my car. And then the cards that I had from my friend, that had I didn't have them from my friend. I bought the deck that I had bought that had the definitions or the meanings on the cards. I actually gifted them to my daughter because she was kind of curious about it. But anyways, advice, be open-minded. When you read a card, just whatever it makes you feel, however, yeah, just take that for sure. But don't hesitate to look back into your references, into your books, watch videos on the cards. And sometimes I did a reading on a friend, and even after the reading was on my mind the whole time, like different cards and different things. So then, I mean, I would even look in all to the numbers, how many different numbers are coming up. Oh, you got a lot of 5s in this draw, or you got a lot of 3s, or whatever, you know, yeah, you can look into, yeah, so much. There's so much into tarot. I mean, I looked into a read that I had done for my friend Courtney. I was looking into that read for 3 days just to see how much I could learn from her, or, you know what I mean? Just learn together. I was trying to go through it together with her, what things made sense and how the cards laid out. So yeah, it might not ever be just a 10-minute read. I don't know if I had ever been able to do just a 10-minute read, but it's, I mean, a lot of me though, I'm curious, hey, how deep is this read that, you know, I'm not getting into? Where actually there was a read that I had done for someone on a Facebook group, and it had the death card come up, and I said there's something traumatic happened, but afterwards was the Ace of Coins. But I told her, I said something happened, but afterwards, you know, was a relief, was a new opportunity arose, something, you know, greater. And she says, oh my gosh, my mom passed away, and I mean, as tragic and awful as it was, then there was so much gained afterwards, and blah blah. And I'm like, wow, like if I would have just known a little deeper that I could look into my cards that way, that really was a death for her, you know, her mother. So I don't know, that's where that's, they say your ego, you got to put your ego aside, so then your subconsciousness can take over, and you don't have. But whenever I hear ego, I always think of, you know, people with a high ego. They think they got good self-confidence and they're the best thing in the world. But ego in the spiritual awakening world is, your own mind, your own thought processes, your own situations and experiences in your mind with the new situation experience now, where when you can push that aside, the consciousness, the ego, then the subconscious comes through. And that's hard to do. But then I don't know if it's a fear or it's more of a, I don't know, I just don't want to be wrong, I guess. You know, I just don't want to interpret it the way differently than what it was supposed to be interpreted. So I don't know. But anyways, tarot is amazing. I love reading tarot. It's fun, I guess, but it's all enlightening, and it's I know it's something I'm so curious about. It's every read is different. There's a million people out there that have a million different experiences, each person. So not 2 reads will ever be the same. Even if you get the 2 same cards or 3 same cards, it's not going to be the same for any 2 people, never. And I've actually never had that where I've drawn the same 2 or 3 cards, whatever, for anybody. But I've not been doing it like that super long. I mean, just a couple of years, but I haven't really done it on too many people, or even myself. I've not really got the same cards, so that's weird. But yeah, hopefully this helps you out a lot. When it comes to picking out tarot decks, like for me, it was what was convenient at the time. I mean, money-wise, and what felt right, what was the right deck. I'm looking through them, just learning them. I mean, even now, after a few years, I learn more every day. And, you know, this is why it's called practice, you know, so. Anyways, yeah, good luck. Keep watching if you want to. I'll send videos as often as I have time. Right. Adios.